I say, what ho, chaps and it's Game Chap and Bertie here.
Yes.
Yes, indeed, fellows, and I dare say we have some very momentous news for you here today concerning Nintendo and a new partnership they have announced with a specific company.
We most certainly do, old chap, yes indeed. You see, as you may or may not know, Nintendo have been skirting around questions about putting their games on phones, mobiles and tablets, etc. for quite a long time, for years actually. But it would seem now that they've come out and said we've made a decision and we're going to do it.
Really?
Most certainly.
That's right, indeed. You see, today's news report, fellows, was that Nintendo had revealed their new partnership with the mobile gaming firm DENA, or DNA for short. The purpose of the partnership, you see, is to provide game apps on mobile devices using Nintendo's intellectual property and to start a new membership service for Nintendo customers globally.
Well, I say, now that's rather interesting and very, very big news indeed.
Now, I have to say first here, Bertie,
Yeah.
as a long-time Nintendo fan, this is shocking news for me, old chap. It really is.
Well, it's big news for any Nintendo
Big
fan
news.
or player of Nintendo games. Now, just in case the chaps and chapettes out there are wondering who DENA are, they're actually a Japanese company also that deal very largely in mobile platforms and
Right.
things like web commerce websites, etc., so forth.
So mobile sort of games and apps
So
and
they're,
things.
exactly, yes. So
Right.
they're Japanese and they're well experienced in what they do.
Okay, now this new deal has been specifically designed, fellows, to give Nintendo a foothold on the smart device gaming market. Now, this was territory that was previously unthinkable for the veteran gaming company.
Oh, it most certainly was, yes indeed. I mean, the whole thing of Nintendo on phones and on mobiles and tablets, my goodness me, what are we saying?
I know it has been the subject of very great debate both from Nintendo customers and indeed amongst Nintendo's own employees, according to rumour, with some camps insisting that the move to smart devices was essential to keep Nintendo profitable in the modern gaming age, whilst other camps vehemently opposed any such change, stating that Nintendo's characters and properties have no place on such a platform which is known for its cut-priced game offerings that are typically not up to Nintendo's high production standards.
Ah, that's a very, very good point, you see. The thing is, I mean, there are limitations, I would imagine, putting games on tablets and
Yes,
phones.
that's right.
In terms of the quality, what they can do, etc., so forth, the power of the processing, however it works.
That's right.
So what would this mean that these games, could they, I can see what they're doing on one stage of the thing. They want to say, well, look, we need to get our games on platforms because of the business, the whole thing. It's such a big market, mobile platform games.
They need the money,
tablets,
perhaps.
etc. We are not there.
Yes.
But could it also, could it cheapen their games?
Well, exactly. That will
Could
be
it
the-
make them look cheap?
That'll be the question on many people's minds, fellows, and of course the other question is, how are they going to use the iPad's new control systems?
Well, that's a very good, interesting point as
Or
well.
its very unique control systems, because of course you don't have really too many buttons on an iPad if you think about it, old chap.
Well, you
or
don't.
indeed on any smart device. It's mainly just screen taps, screen swipes, and one home button, which takes you back to the home screen. So you don't really have a huge array of input options there.
Well, control options, yes, indeed. Input options, tap, 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 mainly, of course, on the iPad, etc.
Yes.
And, of course, the phones as well.
That's
but
right.
the thing is, this has been done before and it does work. I think we've just got some footage there of a game we were playing recently, Sonic Runners, and you can see here
Yes.
that this is just tap, tap, tap.
It's tap, tap,
So it is
exactly.
quite possible to do this.
Right, now we have a quote from Mr. Iwata himself about this move apparently, and here's what he had to say. Quite a few of you must be wondering why Nintendo, which has never deviated from its cautious stance in regard to the possibility of deploying its game business on smart devices, has now changed its policy.
Ah.
Please note, however, that I was not dismissing the idea of making games for smart devices per se, as I stated at the January 2014 Corporate Management Policy briefing that a development team of Nintendo would create a smart device application. And please also note that I had not ruled out the possibility of making games when we make use of these devices.
Well, interesting statement there. I think he's sort of saying, well, now we didn't say we wouldn't, perhaps
Exactly.
trying to sort of justify the fact that they've done it now.
That's right.
But, nevertheless, he said it, they're going to do it. They've teamed up with this other lot,
Yes,
DENA,
that's right.
to get the whole job done. Now, I think the thing is, though, what sort of games can we expect to see? That's what everyone's going to be asking.
That's a very
what
good
games?
Very good question. I think just picking up on what you said there has been a degree of internal debate, of pressure being applied to higher ups, and some subsequent backpedaling in the face of shrinking profit margins, perhaps. In any case, this is news that will certainly come as a big surprise to many staunch Nintendo supporters. Now, indeed, what kind of games can we expect to see on there? Well, they have already stated, I do believe, that they will be using Nintendo's existing properties and characters in some of these games.
Yes, they're going to be using, obviously, the Nintendo assets, etc. Now, what they have said is that they won't be porting games from the Wii U console and, of course, the 3DS portable system. They're not going to port games from there.
Right.
They're going to look to, get things that are presumably unique to the platforms. However, they have said that they may indeed port games from older consoles.
That's right.
The old Nintendo handhelds as well as home consoles, etc.
That's right. Perhaps things like the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy Advance, which were very popular on Virtual Console, of course, they could indeed port some of those older titles, but they've said they won't be porting existing Wii U and 3DS games.
Most certainly not.
That's right.
But I think we can understand that from what we said earlier.
Yes.
Because of the power, processing power, etc. needed.
The limitations, that's right, of these mobile devices. And of course, the input limitations as well, and indeed the various different screen shapes and sizes that you have there on the table. Now, of course, at the same briefing, wherein they announced this new partnership with DNA, Nintendo have revealed their plans, get this, Fails, for brand new console hardware. That's right, I said brand new console hardware.
And this is big. Yes, I mean, I was just going to talk a little bit more about the gaming side of things on the mobile platforms. We'll come back to that in a minute. But yes, they have announced big thing. The next Nintendo console is basically what we're talking about.
That's right.
They have said that they're planning to make one. There's no doubt about that.
That's right. Yes, indeed. Now, of course, details about this new console are very scarce at the moment, but they have already confirmed the name, haven't they?
They may. Well, it's called sort of the name. It's they're referring to it by a code name, if you like. I think NX.
The Nintendo NX.
The NX. I think it's a sort of code name.
Is it for next, perhaps? Next generation? Next move? Who knows?
Exactly, I'm not sure. But what they're saying is rather interesting, is that this particular hardware they're saying could be a sort of a moulding together, a fusion, if you like, of a handheld as well as a static home console type of thing going on here.
Well, that's a bit of speculation there, I think, old chap, but we can certainly say for sure, Fails, that the NX is under development and it will be a dedicated game system. Now, indeed, will it be, as Birdie says there, perhaps a fusion of existing types of hardware, or will it be a competitor in itself to things like the iPad and that sort of console, perhaps? If you will, a tablet-type console. I don't know where they're going with this.
A tablet-type, yes. I think because if we look at the PS4, and we look at the Xbox One, etc., they're static, they sit there and they work at home. But of course, the previous Wii U had this gamepad with it as well.
The current Wii U,
the current Wii U's got the gamepad with it.
Yes.
And I think one way they could perhaps go is where they've got the static console under your television, as it were, but then they've got another piece that perhaps can be carried around, could even be taken out with you, work as like a 3DS does, etc.
Right.
Might even be able to play the phone games as well. We don't know.
Right. Now, do you think they'll go the telephone route? In other words, they'll enable you to talk to your friends using the standard cellular networks, etc., and so forth?
Well, it's an extremely interesting point, that, yes. I mean, could this also, as you say, have a mobile bit built into it?
A cell phone,
basically. Cell phone built into it as well.
Somehow I doubt that, old chap.
Is that asking too much? Could you have that plays in your 3DS games as well? Or we don't really know.
Well, exactly. All these are options for Nintendo, but we do know that in the past, Nintendo have traditionally stuck to game-only hardware. For example, they've never had a DVD or Blu-ray players integrated into their consoles, etc., and so forth.
Most certainly not, no. But we'll have to wait and see. Now, they've certainly announced they're talking about it. As far as when this will be, well, I think they're going to be talking or revealing more information, apparently, they say, the rumour is, in 2016. So this is quite a long way ahead. But I've got a feeling that even though that's been rumoured, they may be talking perhaps about this at E3 E3 this year.
It's possible we could see something at E3 indeed. That's right. That's certainly a potential possibility on the table. Now, apparently, word has it that with this new announcement of the partnership with DNA, Nintendo have been talking about a new membership service to replace Club Nintendo. And apparently, this new membership service, which is as yet unnamed, will support multiple platforms, including smart devices.
Ah, very interesting, yes, particularly since they say they're looking to sort of make a gaming community around this new these new mobile platform games.
Does that mean Miiverse? I mean, it could be Miiverse perhaps on these mobile devices. It would make sense, I suppose.
Well, it could well be.
Now, all this news, Phil, is short term. You have to understand that this is going to be some fast moves going on here. We have a potential launch of the new membership service by the autumn of 2015. That's this year. And Nintendo have also confirmed that they expect their first smart device mobile games to launch by the end of the year.
Really? So this is quick.
This is fast.
Yes, we're in, March now? April not too far away. So we're going to be seeing these very, very soon. I should imagine they'll want to be talking a lot about these at E3 this coming summer.
Yes.
As well as no doubt there'll be updates, etc. coming forth from there. But
yes.
The games, I think it's exciting for the community in terms of new games coming out, things they'll be able to play on their handhelds, or it could be on the other side a bit of a flop for the community. They might say, well, yeah, okay, but these games aren't up to what I expect. I don't necessarily want to play them, so I think it's a gamble with Nintendo. They're going to have to produce something rather good for the first games, I think.
I think it's a massive gamble for Nintendo. Certainly it is a risk. The whole thing could flop and go belly up, but on the other hand, it could also be extremely popular. And we have to understand here, I mean, certainly as a staunch Nintendo fan myself, I have mixed feelings on the matter. I certainly hope it's going to do more good than harm, but of course, it's impossible to tell at this stage.
Well, most certainly, and we know that there's a lot of you out there that listen to the Game Chat channel who are fans of Nintendo. What do you think about this? No doubt you're listening now. Would you be there, sort of tapping away on your phone or iPad, or is Nintendo just for you the 3DS and the old home console only?
Indeed, and of course, I do think that certainly a lot of older Nintendo fans and more veteran Nintendo fans are going to be surprised by this news, and of course wary, because you never know, they could start producing lower quality games for these mobile devices. But of course, on the flip side of the coin there, they may also capture a large new market of perhaps younger players who've never played the old Nintendo games, and they might think, well, this is great. And
well, exactly.
Before you know it, Nintendo's profits could skyrocket, which is good for everyone. So There you go, there's two sides of the coin there.
Well, exactly, that's a very, very good point. One which I was just going to say, indeed, yes, of course, Nintendo will be looking to try to get an entire new market, new people on there, which haven't even perhaps seen or played Nintendo games up to now, and perhaps of all ages, to increase their profits. And indeed, when they announced this, their shares went right up.
Their shares did go up, that's right. Now, of course, when we say smart devices, what are we talking about? We are referring to iPad, Android, and the like, which are famous for Angry Birds, Temple Run, Plants vs. Zombies, Puzzle and Dragons, and many more. Now, previously, we saw games from the iPad available on the 3DS, like Angry Birds and now Puzzle and Dragons, but this marks the very first time that Nintendo have ever actively moved towards producing their own games for the smart device platform. And actually, it's probably the first time, more or less, that Nintendo have ever made their own games for any platform made by another manufacturer.
Well, most certainly, yes, indeed. It's groundbreaking. It's very, very big news for in the gaming community as well as the Nintendo community as well. Certainly, something you'll be should be talking with your family over the dinner table, etc.
Over the dinner table, that's right. This, of course, is very, very shocking news for us. I dare say it came as a big surprise to me. Although deep down inside, I think we all knew this was coming sooner or later. Really, old chap. We didn't want it to come. Mr. Iwata perhaps himself may have opposed it, but eventually, the technological wave of revolution had to come in and crash onto Nintendo's shores sooner or later, and I think it has done today with this momentous announcement that will certainly be leaving many Nintendo fans reeling.
Well, most certainly, yes, indeed. I mean, it all comes down to the income, the old golden coins. Pating, pating, pating,
pating. That's right.
They need to get them, so they're going to have to go that way, no doubt.
That's right.
As we said, what do you think about this?
It's very true that Nintendo do have a lot of cash in the bank for a rainy day, and some have said they could survive for 30 years with no profits, and that's true, but of course at the end of the day they're still going to want to make money to keep the shareholders happy, and of course to keep them buoyant for the longer term.
Well, exactly, of course they do. So as we said there, what do you think about this, all you who are listening? Is it something you're going to go for, or something you're rubbing your chin and thinking, I don't know?
Well, there's our thoughts on the matter, Fideos. Do tell us what you think. This has indeed been Game Chat and Buddy, bringing you the latest news of Nintendo's mobile device partnership. Join us once more on the next exciting outing, I say.
Yes,
until then.